Welcome to Portland Film Beat. I'm Dave Poland, and my guest tonight is Todd Robinson. I've known this guy for a number of years, and one thing that he said to me years ago, and one of the reasons why this show took place is something he said, and that is, David, the only work you're guaranteed is work you create yourself, and that's not even guaranteed. And you said that to me like 5 years ago?
Yeah, I've been telling people that for a few years, because it's a hard reality that I learned myself.
Right.
When there's not a whole lot of work and you're just like suffering away and you're getting depressed, and it's like the only work you're guaranteed is the work you create for yourself.
And that's not even guaranteed.
And that's not even a guarantee because, you
never know what'll happen.
You might not be able to get it funded. You might, who knows? There's 100 things that could happen that could blow that. Yeah, at least.
So tell us about yourself, where you're from, and how did you get to Portland? Because I know you're not from Portland originally.
I'm not. I am.
This is your home now, though, right?
Oh yeah. I've been here. I've been here now. Actually, May will be 21 years.
Is that right?
So I've been in Portland a little less than half of my life, but I'm originally from Southern California. Mm-hmm. I'm one of those, and I grew up in Southern California. Split between. So when my parents divorced, I went back with my dad to California, and my mom lived in Montana. So I had the best of both worlds. I do my school years in California and my summers on Flathead Lake in Montana. It was perfect.
Okay, cool.
So then after I was in the Navy, I came to Portland to be in the music scene.
Right.
And after a short stint in the music scene with our friend Tom McFadden, I ended up I ended up in the business here. I started out as a grip, and then eventually worked my way to the front of the camera.
Right. What first got you interested in acting?
So I am the child of two baby boomer hippie artist types.
Okay.
Both musicians, both creative artists.
Were you the kid that performed for mom and dad all the time?
Absolutely. So I was their first kid too. So and I had a grandmother who adored movie stars and stuff. So my dad, from the time I was a toddler, my dad was coaching me to do imitations of movie stars like W.C. Fields and it just, you name it. Like I would do cartoon characters. He would teach me how to do the voices and teach me the lines. And then next time we saw Grandma, I would, put her little top hat toilet paper roll cover on my head and go W.C. Fields and go wow, wow, wow as like a little toddler,
Oh, that's funny.
And just crack her up. And so I've been bred for this.
Tell us about your first audition. I want you to tell the audience. You've told me about it before.
Yeah. So it was my first audition for like a very large professional thing. It was for the Kansas City Repertory Theater, 1992. So my friend Tim Cormack and I, who had just done some plays at the Topeka Civic Theater, we both did 3 plays consecutively, and the Kansas City Repertory Theater was having their big annual, kind of like the Patas here,
Right.
And so we went. And I was very excited. I couldn't wait to get there. We walk into the lobby of the Kansas City Rep, and there's this giant poster of Barry Williams. Barry Williams played Greg Brady on the Brady Bunch, okay? And Barry Williams was going to be starring in about 4 of the plays that season at Kansas City Rep. I saw that poster, and I went, oh man, I'm not on that level. And I instantly got in my head, and all my preparation, forget about it. I was screwed at that point because now I'm comparing myself to a guy from the Brady Bunch. So I get in there, we wait in line. I finally get in there. I had my monologue down pat. I was ready to go, and I was actually doing pretty well on my monologue.
Okay.
But then about halfway through it, then that kind of got in my head, like, oh, I'm doing pretty good, and then like, boom, then I went blank. And then I just kind of lost it. and plus I was, you know, I was like 75 feet from the auditors, and
Oh my gosh.
they were dark back there. I couldn't see anything. I started sweating. I started getting really scared. And then, you know, I hear like a couple of rustling paper, and I'm like, oh God, I'm losing them. And then I just really started shaking, and finally, and then I just froze, and I was paralyzed, and I didn't know what to do, and I just stared, and then I could feel the tears welling up in my eyes, and I'm just shaking, and I finally, I got up, and I stood up like, I'm sorry I waste your blanking time. And I ran out and I slammed the door and I stormed out the Kansas City rep building, and my friend Tim went in behind me, and he came out, and I was outside. I was sitting in his car and I was weeping and just, you know, just losing it. And he's like, what happened in there? I was like, oh, I lost it. He's like, because they said you were pretty good. I was like, really? Because, oh, I was so terrible. And I just, you know, that audition, and I've told that story in my workshops. I tell people that because, you know, a lot of that could have been the end of it for me.
Right.
But and it was actually several years before I did it again.
Right.
But I think of, I don't now anymore. But for the first few years, I thought about that audition. And I was like, as long as I do better than that audition,
You're doing okay.
I'm going to be fine.
Well, you know, I appreciate you opening up and being
Yeah.
vulnerable here, especially so that other actors can see
Yeah,
it
man.
happens to everyone. And you just got to
Absolutely it
keep
does.
going.
Absolutely.
Keep going no matter
Absolutely.
what happens. So where did you train?
So I'm not a classically trained actor. So my dad teaching me to do all those voices and stuff like that. But then I went to the Missoula Children's Theater the summer between my 8th and 9th grade.
Missoula, Montana?
Missoula, Montana has a nationally renowned children's theater called the Missoula Children's Theater, and every summer they do like a camp where for the whole summer, you go to this camp, you live at this camp, you're rehearsing all day, like 10 hours a day, rehearsing a show that at the end of the summer, you go and do like a 2-week run of the show.
Wow.
In front of a really large audience.
Right.
So I did that the summer between 8th and 9th grade, and then went to Tustin High School in Orange County, California, got accepted into the Advanced Theater Arts Department, did that all through high school, and then also worked at a dinner theater in that town, Tustin, while I was in high school.
Okay, good.
So yeah, and then outside of that, like here in Portland, since I've been an on-camera actor, I've done several classes in town. 2 most notable would be Robert Blanch's class and Jesse Vince's class.
Okay, yeah. How do you prepare for a role?
So it depends. I feel that my life has prepared me for a lot of roles. I mean, no, seriously. I'm not one of those actors that like has a method or, you know, like has anything that I do.
I think methods and all those things get you in your head anyway.
Well, you know, it can get in the way. It works for people, but it doesn't work for me. Basically what I do is I find the things that I have. Well, I learn my lines. Then I find the things that I have in common with that character.
Good.
And then I'm like, okay, scratch those off the list. I know those. Those are givens. And then the things that I don't have in common with the character, especially the most challenging things that I don't have in common, I'll start with those and work on those. Like, how can I get closer to this guy? How can I, you know, get there? And then I'll work on those things that I don't have in common, and I'll do whatever research I need to do to learn those things. And then basically it's just on the day being very prepared and very confident and ready to do my thing.
Confidence is a big thing.
Yeah, it is.
You teach auditioning and acting, is that correct?
I do.
And we're going to have some of that information up on the screen here, I believe.
Excellent.
So
Excellent.
if you'd like to contact Todd about that, please, his email is going to be there. Get a hold of him because he's got this great auditioning class coming up May.
So 6 weeks, 6 Wednesday nights starting May 7th to June 11th.
Right, good. It's a great class.
Thank you.
What was your favorite character you have played and why?
My favorite character would have to be, and I'm gonna pick the movie that like never got finished. I was a character called Kakor the Warrior, and actually, so we shot this several years ago, maybe 7 or 8 years ago. I don't know, but it was one of those things where, you know, things just happened and life got in the way for the people making the movie. But it's actually going to be finished this year. And what I loved so much about playing Kakor the Warrior is I got to spend an entire summer running around in a leather loincloth and fur and barbarian costume with a giant, like, real long sword. Like, just spent a whole summer running around the gorge and like different remote places in Oregon, like as a barbarian.
Okay.
And it was a thrill.
You've directed as well.
Yes.
Do you prefer directing or acting, and why?
The narcissist in me prefers acting.
Okay.
And it's also, and I don't want to say that acting is easy, but it's an easier day, like going and acting as opposed to going and directing. But the intellectual
Directing consume you.
Absolutely, it does, because you're working before, at the ends of the days, after, you're going into editing and post. But the intellectual in me and the storyteller in me prefers the directing. I love directing.
Yeah.
And this year I've been getting some more opportunities to do that, and I love it. And I love working with actors, and I love especially working with really, really good actors, like better than me, and I can just like give them little nuggets that maybe they didn't think about, and it draws like an even more or even richer performance out, and that's exciting to collaborate with the actors that way.
So being an actor yourself, you get a better feel for how
I speak their language.
Work with actors.
I speak their language. I empathize with their problems and whatever's getting in the way of doing the work. And I'm on their side.
Good.
I'm on their team, you know.
Yeah, that's great. Tell us about your experience on Grimm, because you had a great role on Grimm, and I have to say, you did a great job on that.
Thank you very much, David.
I've seen a lot of your work, and I really was pleased. I was like, wow.
Thanks,
you must have really prepared for that. You did a great job, and I hope I don't make anybody in the Grimm I thought you outshined a few of the regulars. No, it was. That's me.
I thank you very much. No, it was awesome, dude. It was.
You did a great job.
Thank you very much.
Me.
It was great. I had a blast. It was the 20th character I read for.
You auditioned 20 times and finally got it.
Absolutely.
I bet every time you audition, you wish you had gotten that part. But once you got this
the one I ended up getting was the best one of
yeah.
all 20
so
that I read for.
So it was worth waiting 20,
yeah,
right?
Absolutely, it was.
It didn't seem that way, though, on the journey, did it?
No, it didn't. And actually, when I was on Avail for that one, I was totally prepared for audition 21.
Okay, is that right?
But no, it was great. The people on that show are wonderful. The leads are awesome. Everybody on that show, the crew is fantastic.
Right.
It really was a top-notch experience.
Good too.
Oh yeah, it's the best, man. No, I mean it is. That's the big time, man. That was fun stuff.
So here's a question. You're not gonna like it.
Okay.
Have you ever done any bad acting?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Tell me what percentage? Percentage-wise.
Oh,
good
I don't know.
Bad.
I don't know. I mean, not as much now as I used to. I don't know. Yes, absolutely. I mean, that's why we get take 2 and take 3, and
right.
you know, I mean, man, anybody who thinks they don't is is delusional. I mean, yes, sometimes you're not on. Sometimes, you know, there's something. You know, you could have a sniffle, or I mean, there's 100 things that could get in your way of being completely on point and truthful, and so like my Grimm director, like I had a couple of moments in there where I was like, man, I'm sucking it up, but the director was great, Rashad Green. I love that guy, and he was so tough with me. I mean, he would not let me slack for a second, and he brought that awesome performance out of me, because you know, I mean, I was on a larger stage, and I was a little self-conscious there. And by the second half of the first day, I was fine. But that first part of that first day was a little dicey there.
How many days were you on set?
I was on 4.
4.
4 days.
Really good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Do you ever feel like giving up?
I used to.
Yeah.
I used to.
It
now,
fades. The more you do it, it fades.
It does. It does because because you start to understand. You know, before, like when I would have a winter where I wouldn't have a single audition or anything. I mean, man, it gets.
Oh.
Like I wasn't suicidal, but I was close. You know, I mean, no, seriously, man. I mean, I've definitely come close to hanging the gloves up. And so when people tell me that they're feeling that way, I know exactly what they're talking
Absolutely.
about, and
I was
hopefully
talking
I'm
to an
able
actress
to.
last night about that.
Yeah.
She was like, "I'm just ready to quit." I'm like, she did this fantastic monologue, and then she said that, and I was like, "You had everybody riveted in the seats, and then you're telling me you're going to quit. Don't."
I think, and I think what that comes down to is. Now, especially with the Facebook and everything, you know, you see, you know, people are posting like, "Oh, look at me! I'm doing this, I'm doing that," and when you're not
It can be a
doing
little
the
bit,
stuff, yeah, it gets.
can wear
You're
on.
like, well, how come this person's doing it, and why? How come I'm not doing it? And you need to get rid of that thinking too,
You do.
because really, the only person I compete with in town is
Yourself.
myself.
You have to. You have to get to that point.
Yeah, you
I
really
can't
do.
remember who said it, but someone said criticism and praise are both poison
Yeah.
because they're going to poison your next performance.
Oh yeah, don't
You
really
can't
pay
listen to either
attention to
one.
any of it. Yeah,
You can't.
yeah.
You've got to work for yourself. And
Absolutely.
And that's it. So,
Just know that you are doing truthful work, and you'll be fine.
what is your favorite part of filmmaking?
The people.
Yeah. Good.
Seriously,
That's a
man.
nice
No,
answer.
no, absolutely, and it's true. The people that we meet in this business and get to work with, and I love like especially on feature films. You're working anywhere from 18 to 25 plus days, and
At
you
12 to 16 hours
at 12
a
to
day.
16 hours
Sometimes
a day.
it can get a little tense.
And you're in the trenches with these people, and it's a lot of fun. You build a family. So I really love the people, and I love the sense of accomplishment when you finish something, and then you go to your premiere night and you get to show this
Nice.
work that you did.
Right.
It's a wonderful thing.
So what's your least favorite thing of filmmaking?
The least favorite part of filmmaking, I probably never having enough money to do it the way we want to do it.
There you go. Oh my God.
And then kind of like the downtime between projects.
Oh,
I mean
that's
that will eat at you.
That's why I would almost rather get on a TV show as a series regular because you're working 25,
Oh yeah,
30
yeah,
weeks
and
out
then
of
you're
the
never
year.
having to worry about it because like I know like in the last like in the last week or on the last day of a production, people will be like, "Hey, what's next for you?" And you're like, if you don't have anything, you're like, "Oh,
You guys all got something?
yeah."
Can you bring me along?
Yeah, I don't know. What are you doing? You know.
What is your favorite film? You probably got a few, but
Oh yeah, several. Okay, well I'll tell you the film that like so the film that actually okay. This is going to show my bipolarity when it comes to movies. So my two favorite films that like really made me want to do this on the comedy side, Airplane. That
you and my wife.
dude, that movie, I'm telling you, Carol, good choice. Airplane is the movie. I saw it in the theater when I was 10 years old, and it forged my sense of humor. That like dry, sarcastic, really smart aleck comedy. That comes from my love of Airplane. And then the movie that like really made me want to be an actor and work on movies was Raging Bull.
Oh my gosh.
I saw it when I
De
was
Niro
12
put
years
on
old.
60 pounds. I saw an interview. He said that the first 20 was not that hard, but putting on the
Oh,
next
yeah.
40 was
Oh,
horrible.
It's incredible. It
goes to show you what kind of preparation they do.
yes.
The A-list actors. Is there a common type of film genre that you relate to more?
Probably comedy, like dark comedy. And it's funny. So for the first few years here with an agent, working professionally as an actor, because of my scars and because of my kind of tough guy look, I was pigeonholed into that kind of bad guy stuff, and I was just like, I was the heavy in dramas, and I was the creep and the thief and just the bad guy all the time, and nobody really knew that I'm funny.
There's a humor side. I've seen the comedy.
I have comic timing. I have comedic ability, and nobody really figured that out until my friend Richard Topping wrote and directed a short called Acting Up, where I got to play a small market actor who's just bemoaning the fact that all the great parts go to L.A.
Was Janet Leigh in that too?
Janet Leigh Hamlin was in that as well. Yeah. And from that point forward, people were like, "Oh, wow, Todd can do comedy." So I've been asked to do more comedy. In fact, I just directed a sketch comedy pilot.
That's right.
Yeah.
PDX Live.
Yes.
And I hope to get Rocky in here. We'll talk about
great.
that. Tomorrow night's the thing.
Yeah, we're doing a cast and crew screening.
Yeah. What director would you like to work with?
Well, anyone that will have me. No,
That's a good answer.
Yeah, no, it's truthful. I mean, I would love to work with Rashad Green again, the guy who directed my Grimm episode.
Right.
Man, I just loved. So the thing I learned working with him, he was very demanding, and the thing that I learned from him, I had to. Yeah. I felt like he was going to beat me up. No, he made me. So what I learned from him was never hold back on rehearsals. Forever, I'd just give 20% in rehearsals and then save it for the take. But no, he wanted to see it in the rehearsals, and so that really. And as far as A-list feature film directors go, I mean, Martin Scorsese, just because the guy's like one of my heroes.
Absolutely.
And I don't know, Steve McQueen is awesome.
Yeah, he does a good job, right?
I don't think I'll ever get on his radar, but hey, Steve, if you're watching.
You never know. You never know. What do you consider the elements of a good film?
A good film entertains you.
Right.
A good film, you're like, man, that was a good film. A great film sticks in your craw, and you wake up thinking about scenes, or you just
you have to watch it again.
Oh yeah, and I have a few of those.
You find something else about it.
There are movies that I have watched, and I find, and like you said, I find something new in there each time, or something that like, wow, I've watched this film 15 times. How did I never notice that before?
Really, yeah.
And now with like kind of my years of filmmaking experience, I go back and watch some of my favorite films and see little continuity flaws and stuff that I totally glossed over before I knew any better.
Right.
And I still don't care.
Right.
I still love it. Raging Bull has two glaring continuity issues that
you never caught before.
And I don't care.
Right. The thing is since you've done directing and probably been involved in editing, and you're an actor, you do see those errors.
Oh yeah. It's hard to turn it off sometimes.
Right. It is.
When you're watching a movie. And so there again, like a good or great film for me, I can watch it and my AD. My assistant director, producer brain never turns on, and just my movie fan brain stays engaged the whole time.
There you are.
That's a great movie for me.
That's a great movie, right? Who is your favorite A-list actor? Why? What draws you to them and to them as an actor?
So Robert De Niro was the first. Robert De Niro was my first idol as an actor, and. I think I've had several guys, and then from there, as I became a character actor, then a lot of the character actors became my favorites. Your Warren Oates, your J.T. Walshes, Christopher Walkens, and those kind of guys. And then now, some of the guys who I really, really, really love now. This guy Benedict Cumberbatch. That guy's amazing. That guy can do all kinds of different things. Daniel Day-Lewis. I love I love all actors. Like I have so much admiration for the A-list people that are working all the time, like that top 5%.
Yeah.
I've got so much admiration for those people because when you actually get to see them working in person too, you see just how amazingly good they are.
Right.
And you're like, wow.
It's awesome.
It's mind blowing to
Yeah,
watch
sure.
a really very astute actor work.
Where do you hope to see yourself in 10 years?
Los Angeles.
Good.
No, well, yeah, honestly. No, I would like to be. I would like to have a career of
Working
either
more.
like doing guest star stuff on TV, maybe little character parts in feature films, and directing
There you go.
movies.
Any current projects that you're working on?
Yes.
Go ahead,
So
you can tell-
okay,
you got-
yeah, I've
you
got
got a
my
list,
little,
you
I
got
got
that
my,
list.
little- I
I'm
got my
glad
little
you got a
list here.
list.
Okay, so acting, I've got, I just did my first Western.
You were a marshal in it, right?
I was a sheriff.
Sheriff.
I was Sheriff Collins in a movie called Gage, which was this kid Keith Kopp. It's his senior thesis for the London Film School, and it's great stuff. I just did that, and then I'm getting ready to do a feature called Deatonbach Save the World, and then I've also got a couple of things that I'm directing and a couple of things that my wife Laura and I are producing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long have you known Lara?
Laura and
Let's
I,
make Lara Cuddy, yeah.
21 years, 22 years
Wow.
in October.
Right. She's your biggest supporter,
Oh,
and without her,
yeah.
you would not be where you are, would you?
Absolutely not.
No, she's
No.
awesome.
Yeah,
She is
yeah,
awesome.
she is great, and she keeps me grounded and keeps me focused on what we're doing.
So we're running out of time here. I want to thank Todd for being here.
Oh,
buddy,
David,
awesome.
thank you, man.
I love you,
Thank
man.
you.
I've known this guy for a long time. Sometimes we hate each other. Sometimes we love each other, but we always come together because he irritates me once in a while, and I always irritate him. So that's okay.
That's
because
not true.
Because we come back together and we party and we celebrate.
Yeah.
I want to thank Ellery Nelson, who's the director. He does a great job in his studio for us. I also want to thank my wife, Carol Pullen. And I also want to thank Christo. I've never thanked Christo, and he always helps us set this all up, and he does an awesome job as well. Anyway, thank you for joining us, and until next time, shoot for the silver screen.